Good day and welcome to the March tour of the allotment. As you can see, I'm in the Polytunnel at the moment and we'll be doing this bit a bit later. But it's just such a glorious day today, really bright, just lovely. Blue skies, white clouds, and it's gorgeous. And it's so bright that I can't actually do my filming of me outside because I'd be scrunched up like that, or I'd have my glasses on. New glasses. I got new glasses. Really good deal on my new glasses. Anyway, you don't want to hear about the new glasses. So let's have a look at the plot tour, which, as I'm sure you'll realise now, is just these two half plots that are together. We are still doing a little bit of growing on a few other plots, mainly communal growing, and I may show you that as we go through the year. But primarily, we're now a single plot, and we're talking to our charity, or the charity that owns this site, about now merging 6 and 6A. I was 6A before, and we've acquired 6. Merging 6 and 6A into just plot 6, which actually is quite exciting. Many allotment sites at the moment are reducing the size. They're splitting plots and making them smaller so that they can be more manageable. So it would be lovely to get this plot back into a single full plot. So anyway, I'm sure that will happen. The charity is a fabulous charity and really great to work with. And I've been working with them for 5 years now. So yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at the plots. This is the corner of our plot just here. So it goes right up to the behind the green polytunnel up there. And then over to this compost bin, as you know, the pallet compost bin. And yeah, quite a lot has gone on over the past few weeks. You may know that we have acquired a lot of compost from a local riding stables, which has been incredibly useful in topping these edge beds up. We've also put down these vinyl banners at the front, mainly as a weed suppressant for the time being. This is the rhubarb that we dug out, and this is a rhubarb that we had, and they will be going into this area, which is going to be a rhubarb area, and then to this side we will have other perennial plants, including our Taunton Dean kale, our Indian perennial kale as we call it. Now, the other day things began to solidify in my head again, as they tend to do. We're definitely going to be removing this compost bin for the time being. That's going to be one of the next jobs, as is going to be cutting down this rose, which I don't think has seen any significant pruning for quite a while. The reason we're going to get rid of this is because we have a plastic one there that is going to go in its place for the time being. As I'm still wondering exactly what we're going to do, this I think makes sense to be a compost area. Oh, look at that. Can you see that? Mr. Fox. Or Missy Fox, actually. I think that's a vixen. So, you know what? You plan to do something and then suddenly you find something out. Are we going to move this now? Is she in there for any reason? Is she already pregnant and is looking at cubs? I don't think so. Not from the size of her that I've seen. Anyway, I clearly need to think about that in what we do. She's normally under our shed, so that's quite interesting to see her. Right, these beds which you're seeing from the other side, all of them are now prepared. There is some riddling of soil that we need to do when we're sowing, but I'm not going to be worried about that. What I am pondering is these paths. I really would rather have grass paths, but they're not particularly level. So I'm just going to leave them as is at the moment, and then we will ponder that another time. These buckets of soil are just here because, why are they here? Oh, because I was taking soil out of the bed, of this bed. I'll come on to that in a moment. Look at this. I've moved. There are three different, what do you call them? What do you call those? Hoses. Three different hoses there. And now that the sun has hit them, they'll be a bit easier to actually wrap up. I'm going to come down here. Can you see the bee? Big bumblebee. Anyway, big bumblebee. This area we're just going to cover with more tarpaulin for the moment. I'm going to try and take out the wooden balustrade along here, and there's another bit that goes along here, so I'm going to try and do that. Moving round into my shadow, we've moved the Belfast sink up from the lower area. That weighs an absolute ton, and I do mean it weighs an absolute ton. Had to use a sort of, oh, what do you call it? One of those sort of old-time trolleys that wedges underneath, and then you pull it up to get it up here. But hey, I managed to do that. Moving around this apple tree. Oh, sorry about that. The the mint is doing really well. I need to get in there and do a bit of weeding. Not sure if you can see, but there's a dandelion in there. I don't mind dandelions generally around the place, but I don't want them where I've got things growing. We've also moved these up, or this is the gooseberry we took out. This is a apple tree that we had on the lower plot that has been brought up, and some marigolds. And as I say, this is a compost bin that we're going to be putting together in our next video. Our tour, number 5 of the new plot series. That's what we will be doing in that. This verbascum, which I've skimmed over, we're going to leave here for this year. And I think these are garlic which went in 2018. And we're just leaving those there for the time being. Okay, moving to this bed. This is our pea bed, and we have various different types of pea that have been sown in here. There's a Indian golden pea, there's Oregon sugar pod along this area, then there's Hurst green shaft along the middle, and then we've got 3 varieties of pea here. So what these are, as you can see at the edge, there's 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, and then in here you can see 2 rows. So effectively there are 6 rows in there, but what I've done is I've put a string right down, and then I've sowed a few inches on either side of that string. This wood is just there to stop the fox digging things up. I haven't worked out what is going into these beds yet. I do think that in this first year, because we weren't able to get on here until really December, I do think we've got about 50% of the growing space that we had down below this year. Next year we'll have, I think, about 20 or 30% more, but this year we've got less. That's because this area is not going to be used for a growing area this year unless I can really get onto it in the next few weeks. Right, we've put this edge bed here the right way up, or the way that we want it up, and that's going to be again in the 5th video of the new plot video. We're going to be digging out the fruit raspberries that are in there and various other things that are in there. Sorry about the shadow. various other things that are in there, and getting on top of that. Right, this is a grape that we really want to dig out. This area is going to be our flower bed area, not edged, but flower bed area. Then our shed, I think you've seen before. One of the jobs we need to get onto. This is going to be a warts and all tour, by the way. It's not just the bits that we usually show, but it's the bits that we don't normally show. So these are going to be, let me come this side. These strawberries are going to be prepped very soon. We have a whole load of rubbish in that bag there and detritus around. These are things that we're actually storing behind the shed for use. Then at my feet, more rotten wood, a bramble that has to come out, and even more plastic on the ground. Look at that. That's because there was something else on top of that. I didn't pick it out earlier. Anyways, you can see there's still quite a lot of work to do on tidying this plot and getting it up to a good growing state. One of the other things that we're going to be doing, this rose, which I think it's a Princess Elizabeth rose, we're going to be cutting that quite hard back. I think we'll be taking at least half of that height off. It's a very old rose and it should be fine. Now is a good time to do it. I'd love to be doing it after it had flowered, but it wasn't actually practical last year. So we are going to be doing that soon. And as I come over here, you can see there's dead wood in there. I think there's a few suckers in there as well. But it is a glorious rose when it's in full flower. But the issue is because it's so high, look at that sky, isn't that fabulous? Because it's so high, we're not really getting the full pleasure of it because it's not flowering at our level, if you see what I mean. This ceanothus is about to burst into flower. So this has wonderful pale blue flowers. This shrub here is a lilac, which I have actually pruned back along this path and along the inside as well. That's a glorious one. There's some scaffold poles here. Yeah, more stuff. Mug has been put back in place. Right, moving on to this one. Again, trying to get the shadow. The broad beans are actually doing pretty well, though they do seem to be being eaten. Can you see that one in the middle there? They're being eaten quite a bit. Look at that one there, which has not usually happened before. I have resown, so this one in the middle now, I've resown a seed next to that, and I've resown a couple up here as well, and also over there at the back, there and there. At the front we have some lilies, and we're also going to be scratching in some further flowers in there, flower seeds in there. What we will be doing, and you'll notice it maybe more on this plot, is doing a strim. If we can get a couple of days of really decent weather, or not wet weather at least, we will be strimming. The one thing that you've got to remember is to make sure to put your hands, not whilst the strimmer is on, but make sure you put your hands down, make sure there's no hedgehogs or frogs or toads before you trim anywhere. Right, let's just spin you round. Area needs tidying, but we do have rhubarb here, which is going to move to the lower end of the plot where we've seen that other rhubarb. So a little water and wildlife tub need to do something more sensible. I was going to sow carrots in here, but I'm not quite sure at the moment. We are going to be moving up, hopefully this weekend, the root and carrot bed from our vacated plot down here and putting it in here. And I think we may just wait on sowing. It may mean that our carrots are a bit later than normal, but I'm not going to worry about that, not for a week or so. These are raspberry canes. These are autumn raspberries. And then we have a gooseberry here, which needs a bit of attention. You can see, hopefully, let me get there. The shoots are all coming and it needs a bit of attention, which is, so these are going to be going in, sorry, my finger. These are going to be going in this bed here. Right. Been doing some weeding and pulling up stuff. Our Georgia collard greens are beginning to flower. Not a problem, that's totally expected. So they will be coming out relatively soon. And then these, as you will remember, are our Portuguese cabbage, which we adore. And I'll be harvesting some of those. Right. This has been our parsnip and carrots bed for last year. Parsnips over here. We've still got, I think, about 8 or 10 in there. And carrots, very few carrots now. Most of them have come out. You can see there's a very large carrot down there. Most of them have come out. And yeah, that bed, I think, well, what we do have here, sorry, at the front, I'm sure if you can see, these are our giant garlic. What are they called? Elephant garlic. They seem to be doing okay, but not great. I hope they'll do better. We shall just see. I mean, it's not an issue, but it'll be interesting to see how they do. But because we've got effectively alliums this side, I've got some jet set onions which I'm going to put in that side there. So all of this is going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to be putting some onions in there. Moving round, empty bed at the moment, cardboard down as a weed suppressant. Right, this in here is a blackberry that we have been given, and that needs attention. This needs attention, which is just some lilies, but this one here is something we're going to be digging out. Not a great time to do it, but it is where it is. This is a blueberry, and as you can see, it's starting to do something, but actually the soil here is not good for it, so it's coming out and it's going into ericaceous compost, and it's going to be part of our blueberry hedge. And I know it's not ideal to do it because it is, as you can see, it's got quite a bit of growth on it, but that's going to happen this weekend. It's going to come out. There's a pond liner. We have a miniature cherry at the side, which, can you see that? Am I in the, I'm in the thing. Look. That's starting to flower. That's going to be glorious very soon. Yeah. Okay, carry on. This is where we put in some, what are they? They're pansies, or the other one, the smaller one, can't remember. It's a bed which I've decided, because it gets so taken over by weeds, this one, whatever you seem to do, it's actually going to be a flower bed this year. And we're going to put calendula in there, we're going to leave the fennel in, and it's really going to be a pollinator bed, this one, this year. It's not going to be for food. Our apple tree has had a good prune. You may see, you see in there, I've taken off this branch, mainly because it was encroaching too far this way and stopping us doing things. Right, an empty bed with cardboard on it and lots of other things. We still have lettuce growing at the back. They have not been shielded or had any frost protection, and they're still going. We're leaving them. This is going to be our next job, putting our aromatics onto the other area of our plot, and that is basically to try and stop snails and slugs and other sort of insects getting onto the bed. These are from our Kew Kitchen Palace, or Kew Palace Kitchen Gardens inspired beds from last year, which are no longer ours. Garlic, all doing well. This is messidrome garlic, and very pleased with how it's doing. Apparently it does have a shorter stem than others. And then moving over, this is where we had various brassicas, including Cavallo Nero. There's a little flower there, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it needs a bit of a weed. But I'm getting this prepared for the next job, or next harvests. What's going to go in here? Not sure. We had alliums in this at the beginning of last year. We had onions, rather, at the beginning of last year. Then we've had brassicas. So I need to think carefully about what might go in here. We might put carrots in here. Might put carrots. Let me have a think about that. One thing that did happen during Storm Kiara, or Kira, as I think it's supposed to be, is this big buddleia actually fell right over the bed, and it even hooked out the roots from down here. So as soon as I saw that, I cut all of this off, and that's going to go into a wildlife area that we have here. It's too much for my dead hedge at the back, but yeah, that will be going soon. But I think this is going to survive. Buddleias are really tough beasts, and this is the really dark purple buddleia. This one, which needs to be taken in hand very soon, is the standard pale buddleia. Right, let's go further around. Oh, you may notice we've moved the bench that was here. That has gone into the polytunnel to give us further growing space in the polytunnel. But some of the things we have in the polytunnel are going to start coming out. So I need to sort out this bench here and decide what's staying and what's going. These are the rest of the brassicas that we've just taken out, the Cavallo Nero, and we will be, or I will be, picking off the leaves that we're going to be eating, and the rest will go onto the compost heap. More tidying to do. Look, the bamboos, which I put there stupidly, but I didn't have anywhere else to put them, have pushed the cover of the mini greenhouse in there. I need to sort that out because that's where a lot of our beans are going to be sown. So that is a job to do over the next few weeks. A rose which needs to be cut back. Right, coming into the areas you don't normally see. This is our dilapidated shed. Yeah. It's obviously not watertight, it's not windproof, it's nothing proof at the moment. And I think this will be going this year. It's just what we replace it with, or do we replace it? Do we replace it with a shed, or do we replace it with something else? I'm not sure. Right, a really warts and all. Here we are. A bamboo that I would like to get onto the lower plot, but it's going to stay in a tub because they're quite invasive. Our hot bin composter, which is this, is going to be moving to further down on the plot. That's our dead hedge where we put a whole load of dead things. And it is actually the back of these plots all along here is a wildlife area. We have to keep that just for wildlife. We're not allowed to do anything at the back, which is why, I don't know if you can see, our next door neighbour's shed here does not back right up because that's a wildlife area. Compost bin, pallet bin, compost bin, fertilizers, banner, crates, yeah, a lot of tidying. Some of this needs to go. We've got sort of plastic here that needs to go. This I might make into a swamp pond somewhere on the site, but not on our plot. Yeah, a lot of tidying. Some of this was all blown over during Storm Ciara. It was all nicely stacked up here, but hey ho, there we are. More strawberries that need sorting out. And coming right over here, I'm starting to sort out certain things. These are red or pink flowering strawberries that we acquired last year. Various pots and things that need sorting out. I have put this mulberry into this pot because I'm going to repot it into that for the time being. And then coming round here, I'm going to be sorting out this bench. These are more raspberry canes, which are autumn fruiting raspberries. We're going to start selling these online. There are perennial kale plants. So these are Taunton Dean, but we call them Indian perennial kale because they came from a colleague. So we're going to be selling those online as plants soon. There's quite a lot that you see as cuttings online. You get 2 cuttings for $8.99. We're going to be doing 1 plant for $8.99, including postage, or at least I think we are. Yeah, so I need to sort out this bench. Lots of sorting out. Cutting back sedums. This is a tall flower area that we have in a metal tub. Yeah, lots of tidying. That's our second shed, which bizarrely is the oldest shed on the whole site here and is pretty dry. Yeah. Right, another sedum just at the side of my bag. You can see the growth going on at the bottom there, and all of these can now be cut off. All of these strawberries need a good lot of care. Right, moving into the polytunnel. So we moved this bench in, as you can see, because it's here. Because we need more sowing space, and it's fine here for the time being because we're not going to be putting anything into this soil down here for quite a while. These are our January sowings. Earliest cabbage, and then that's collard greens, like the ones that are going to seed. These are broccoli rabe. and these are kale 1000 head. Now the broccoli rabe are getting pretty leggy, but that's what they did last year. They do get quite a bit of sun in here, so I'm not too bothered. These are turnips which we have sown into modules, and then we're just going to plant the module out. Under here are onions, Ailsa Craig onions that we sowed on Boxing Day. Chervil, which I think I sowed a bit too much. These are a further sowing of spring onions. Then 2 types of sweet pea at the back. They're doing sort of okay. Yeah. And then this was a early sowing of spring onions that we did several months ago. Moving up here, this is Hispy cabbage. Now I've had that seed for quite a while and it looks as though only 3 have germinated. I don't think that one is a Hispy cabbage. Then we have some Dubentum kale cuttings, and we have some panache Dubentum kale cuttings that we bought online. They came as cuttings, so they have no root on them. They just came as cuttings. Right, let's go around this way. Our lettuce, yeah, all of those are doing well. So I think some of those are going to be going out, and some will go out onto the area here, just outside under some protection, and others will stay in here. And then this is our trial, or some of our trial things. Let me put that up there. This was the early sowings of Marmande tomatoes that we've done outside. Can I get in there? I don't think you can see that. There's one. You see that? There's one. Yeah. And these are carrots that we've sown in modules. These are just trials that we did in January. See what will happen. So this has had no heat and has been in the polytunnel since January. The only thing they've had as protection is this plastic cover. At the back, we've got some cucumbers that have been sown, and there's a further sowing of parsley. This time it was champion moss. The parsley that we sowed in January, let me just switch you around this way, back to here. This is coriander and parsley we sowed in January. Neither of them have come up. Bit of a shame. Anyway, there we are. Further sowings under here. We have Nero di Toscana at the back on the right, then broccoli natalino, then broccoli autumn calabrese, that one's called. Then we've got our Portuguese cabbage, celeriac. Then on the left we have some cosmos, some echinacea and some poppies. And then at the back we have collie, and I can't remember what the other one is. Let me just pause you a moment. Okay, so that's collie at the back, and then Groninger. So that's the one here. Sorry, here is Brussels sprouts. Nothing there yet. They only went in a couple of weeks ago. And then we have done some modular sown beetroot, 2 types of modular sown beetroot. So we have 8 cells of beetroot at the front and 4 at the back. And then finally, we have the Just Jenny sweet peas that Patricia from Sow and Grow sent us. So there's quite a bit going on. There's a lot of tidying to do. I got that box, which I can't use. Yeah, there's quite a lot of tidying to do at the back here, but it's mainly been about sowing. So this weekend, I really hope to get on to tidying things. Oh, sorry, spinning you back. This was a find. look at those pots. There must be 60 pots found on the roadside, so I've taken them all. So that's great, because these are really decent pots for potting other things onto, obviously. Right, I need to come back in here and put lids on, but there we are. That is the March plot tour. A lot to do again. I mean, you know, there is always a lot to do at this time of year. People think there isn't, but there is. And I hope the next few days stay as decent as today, because if it does, then I'm going to be able to crack on and do quite a lot of the things that are the niggly jobs. You know, we all have those niggly jobs, don't we? Like tidying this bench over here, for me, is a niggly job. Sorting out the bamboos and the growing mini grow house, niggly jobs. These things back here, sorting these things out. Do we want them? Don't we want them? All of those things I can get on with. And sorting that bench out over there. Yeah, so there we are. That is our March tour. This cardoon, I was going to leave it there, but I don't think it's sensible to leave it there. So at the end of this year, we're going to move it down to where the other cardoon is down there. It makes sense to do that. Gosh, it's so lovely. Really is so lovely. Right, I'm going to leave it there, and hope to see you soon for part 5 of sorting out this side of the plot. And yeah, wherever you are, hope you're having a good start to your growing season. Obviously, and if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're coming to the end of your growing season. So I hope your harvests are doing really well. Right, have a good one. Thanks very much for watching. Please do subscribe if you like what we do, and I will see you very soon.